No, it's a good point. You know, the truth is that the Department of Homeland Security doesn't really care about the well-being of the immigrants in their care. And unfortunately, although I thought President Obama did a lot of good things, he failed there as well. I went down with several other members of Congress to visit the prisons that we have parents and children in, and it's the worst thing. It still haunts me what I saw there. And they had 2,000 kids in one prison with their moms, and no pediatrician. I mean, we were there, and you know, chicken pox had broken out, and it was just outrageous, really outrageous. The food was deficient, the medical care was almost non-existent, and it was abusive in every way. And it's gone downhill since then. Because now we're ripping these kids away from their parents, further traumatizing them. And you're right. I mean, if you go, I mean, it's thousands of miles. You're escaping in most cases. You're fleeing for your life. Why else would you take a handful of clothes and walk thousands of miles trying to get to a place where it's safe? You wouldn't do that unless there was a necessity to do that. And you know, people are preyed upon, and it's a very traumatic experience. There's no medical care being provided for people in custody, and now under the Trump administration, there's an unwillingness to even allow people to go out on bond or under the family case management system. We did a pilot program. 99% of the people in the pilot case management program showed up at court. So you don't need to keep people in a jail for $280 a day with deficient care. People died in custody. So I understand what you're saying. It's terrible under the administration. One of the things we did, and maybe we need to have a talk with the Board of Supervisors, we funded community clinics in the ACA. It was not possible, I won't say whether it was good or bad, but it was not possible to make undocumented individuals eligible for care under the Affordable Care Act. We have the votes to do that. But funding community clinics, anybody can go to those community clinics. And that was the hope, that we could provide at least some level of care in that way. Now, of course, the community clinics got defunded, and we had a fight for months, and we finally had a face-off with the Republicans, and we got them refunded. But that's our best source of funding for that adult population. How about just one more question, and then I'll let, yes.
With an administration that is disregarding both the spirit and the letter of the Constitution, and a body of representatives in their party who are supporting that regardless, is there any other approach than to try to elect people at this point from the other party, since we're so partisan? Yeah. And if that's the only approach, how many seats are in contest June 5th, and how many seats are in contest in November, if they could really turn this around?
Well, I do think that the only thing in the near term is to have a counterweight of the other party in the House or Senate, or hopefully both. Right now, the Republicans hold the majority by 24 seats. And I'm on the red to blue, recruitment committee. We have 100 seats that the Democrats have targeted. We're not going to win 100 seats, but where we have viable candidates that went out and raised the money and have the volunteers in a seat where it is possible if the political environment is a favorable one. Here in California, we have, it's 39 Democrats and 14 Republicans. My personal goal is to get them to single digits. I don't know if we'll manage to do that this year, but we have fielded candidates, and in some cases there are too many candidates. Under our system of top two advance to November, which I think is a terrible system, honestly, but, Democrats are enthusiastic, and at one point we had 17 Democrats running in a seat. Well, they don't need my permission to run, but we did talk to people saying, look, why are you running? Wanting to turn the House. So, well, this isn't about philosophy, this is about arithmetic. If you split the vote 17 ways, there's going to be 2 Republicans in November. Some people dropped out, but other people, they're all, brand new candidates. They say, oh, you don't understand, we're going to win. It's like, well, no, you're polling at single digits, you're not going to win. And so we now have a very dicey situation. We'll find out on Tuesday whether we're going to have an opportunity to actually have a Democrat facing off with some of these Republicans in California. It's possible that because of the sheer number, that won't happen, despite our efforts to try and get people to think about the broader good and not just their own candidacy. In terms of my colleagues, some people are saying, and Tom Steyer is talking about we should do impeachment. I know that you didn't mention that directly, but I think it's implied in the question. And I think I'm the only member of Congress that actually worked on both the Nixon impeachment as a staffer, and I'm on the Judiciary Committee for the Clinton impeachment. And it's both a legal constitutional process and a political process. Right now, there's no way that the Republicans, no matter what the president did, they're not going to disagree with it, which is pretty disappointing. But that doesn't mean that Democrats need to run off and do something, because a case needs to be made if there is a case. I don't know. When we worked on the Nixon impeachment, we had John Sirica, and we had, a mound of evidence that really couldn't be looked away from. And in the end, there was a bipartisan group in the House of Representatives, and the country was behind it. So that's the only time, that's the only way you should even consider using impeachment, because you're undoing an election. And so, we're not in that spot, and we may never be in that spot. So I do think that it's important that we use our political tools, and I'm hoping that people across the country see that it's a good idea to have people in the legislative branch say, no, we're going to defund these efforts to take the children away from their parents. We can do that using our budgetary authority. There's a lot of things. We can't do everything if you have just half of one branch, but you can do something. You can stop things. And there's a lot that needs to be stopped with this administration. So I'm hopeful that we'll have the chance, and I thank you again for letting me visit with you.